The weather that day was fabulous. Clear sky, bright sun, warm with a little bit of wind, but just a little bit. The perfect conditions to run out of the city. So that's what I did, choosing to visit another town near Vienna, this time not on the Danube River and without an abbey. Baden bei Wien, meaning literally baths near Vienna. I left the car somewhere at the end of the town and strolling randomly in the streets, I came across the Rosarium, installed in one of the parks, the Doppelhofpark. The park itself was primarily a private one, but from 1966 it became public and was fully redesigned and now houses the Rosarium, which is basically a vast garden with various rose bushes and fountains. Of course, there are no roses in March, and you can imagine how beautiful it could be in the spring and the summer. Then I came to this charming tiny alley where I found a vintage cafe, an art gallery and a souvenir shop, but the most important thing for me was the ambience it has. It seemed to me that it has remained somewhat out of time or out of a fairy tale. It seems that all these houses are in a Biedermeier style because I found that Baden was largely destroyed by a fire in 1812, but was excellently rebuilt in a Biedermeier style and sometimes is referred to as the Biedermeierstadt or the Biedermeier town. Anyway, I can understand why the town was a preferred place to be for the Austrian emperor's family, as for many renowned historical figures as Beethoven, who wrote most of his Ninth Symphony in Baden, and Mozart, who wrote his motet in D major, Ave Verum Corpus, in Baden, and premiered it in the city parish church. Yes, the primary reason for the popularity of the town are the baths with their healing waters, but I'm sure it's not just that. Next I came across to the Roman thermal baths, situated right where once were the original Roman baths and where centuries ago the ancient Romans from the area enjoyed to recover their health. In front of it I found this statue of tourist shooting the baths, or the head in front of him, which seems to be of a Roman philosopher, I'm not sure, but on the backside of which are engraved the words, "Spirit shapes matter." And I messed up again with my shadow entering the footage. I told to the sun to move a little bit, but the sun wasn't prone to do it. Anyway, I found this calm and cozy passage with several residential buildings around of kinds of a backyard. The passage connects the square in front of the baths with the house where Beethoven stayed several times, the orange one you see just exiting the passage, and with one of the streets that will bring us to the main square of the town. Baden is also full of history, mentioned for the first time as Pedun in a document from 869. In the 10th century, the Babenberg dynasty, one of the noble families of the Holy Roman Empire, played a significant role in the region. Baden was situated within the territories of the Babenberg margraves of Austria, who established their power in the area. During the later medieval ages, Baden began to emerge as a center of commerce and trade. The growing influence of the merchant class led to the establishment of guilds and the rise of a prosperous middle class in the town. There is a church built in the 11th century and a castle from the 12th century. The town received its legal privileges in 1480, and although it was repeatedly sacked by Hungarian and Ottoman troops in the Middle Ages, and, as I mentioned earlier, ravaged by fire in the beginning of the 19th century, it managed to flourish again each time. Baden also inspired several artworks. The composer Johann Strauss created his famous waltz Girls of Baden in honor of the town's beauty and charm. Additionally, Baden served as the setting for some scenes in Leo Tolstoy's novel War and Peace. But here we come to the main square of the town and the monument known as the Trinity Column or the Plague Column. The construction of this Baroque monument resulted from the vow of the Baden citizenship on the occasion of their surviving the plague in 1713 and was executed by the Italian sculptor Giovanni Stagnetti after the plans of the painter Altomonte. The construction work lasted from 1714 to 1718. In the place of the present so-called Plague Column, there was once a pillory. A Roman stone bench was found during the foundation work. In front of this Trinity Column, the Ferdinand's Fountain became operational on June 13, 1833. It is intended to commemorate the failed assassination attempt on the then Crown Prince and later Emperor Ferdinand. I enjoyed very much the ambience of this street, full of all kinds of tiny shops as the beauty of the buildings along it. but strolling in Baden for an entire day, I needed a coffee and I chose one of the cafes on the main square where I could stay for hours to enjoy the sunglares, the passers-by and the passing of time. As it started to get dark and the temperature dropped a little, I decided to walk a bit more and to take a look of the main church of Baden. These Baroque churches are beautiful and it's always worth visiting them. The church St. Stephan was built as a Gothic one in the 15th century on the foundations of a Roman building using the older walls. As the church was badly damaged during Ottoman wars, its interior was changed in the 17th century in a Baroque style, installing several altars. In 1880, the church interior was again changed, aiming at a revival of Gothic elements. The main altar was replaced by the one you can see today in 1893. As I mentioned earlier, Mozart participated in several performances of his masses at the church and composed the motet Ave Verum Corpus, which was premiered by the church choir in St. Stephen. By the time I left the church, it was already night outside, and I decided to end my walk with a glimpse of Baden at night from the Bellevue on a hill in one of the city parks.